incident I remember in Seville. My sister had a friend. They were very close. And this friend, she met this guy who was pretty obnoxious. And we all felt that he was not a good person.
Right.
Right. And even she knew that he wasn't a good person. But her body...
he might not be good, but he is so good.
She said, I have to avoid this guy because whenever I'm in the same room with him, I feel sick in my mind. You know, it's like at an energetic level, I feel repulsed. But my body just wants to shag him, right? The body says no.
The soul says yes. Ever been in conflict with your own darn self?
Yes.
Yeah, a couple times.
Welcome to another episode of Driving to the Res with your favorite hosts, Larry and Inelia. Woo!
Hey, you know, as a team, we do pretty good at that.
We do. Good job, honey. Good job.
Well, I just want to make sure everybody who's listening clearly, if they're listening to the first part.
Which is this one?
This one. There's a second part. Mm-hmm. At the end of this conversation, we invite our extremely well, I guess, what's the word, qualified in a variety of
topics and
life modalities. I mean, professionals with woo side. Yes. I call it professionals with the woo side.
Oh, yeah. I like that. Professionals with the woo side on the second hour.
Woo side. Yeah, our panel conversation in the second hour that you can find
at subscribestar.com/Inelia-Benz.
Or if you're like me, you just type it in your little bar thing
on the search engine.
Or internet thing. You just type Subscribestar Inelia Benz
and you'll find it. You will.
So we'll welcome you to join us in our second hour.
Yes. Which is a way for you to support us.
It does support us.
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot.
A lot, actually, yes. It's great.
Yes. Or I could just go fishing.
And we can stop doing the podcast. It's funny that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like, that would be a really good example of the body and soul thing.
Well, that's a very good example.
Gosh. You know, because the bodies, they want funds, they won't be able to have enough income to do all the things. And in this part of the paradigm, you know, in this part of the split, people who do the work that we do in educating and supporting the light workers of the world, they're not really paid very well. Right.
Seems a common denominator.
It does.
A large majority of them. I'm sure there's exceptions, and some of the exceptions I found there, I think there are exceptions to the light worker also.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them don't seem to be, but there's still somehow
kind of a resistance, shadow banning, and all sorts of things. You know,
and the ones who aren't, then you're suspicious of them anyway. Yeah. It's like, well, how come you ain't shadow banned? What'd you do?
So we've created the Subscribe Star thing.
Yeah.
And it's a way for you to be able to support us in different levels and things. And we say thank you with different bits and bobs. But the second hour, in my opinion, is worth so much because everything we talk about is so expanded so deeply, and it brings in a lot of reality, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of expertise with the panel.
It brings in the words to understand what Inelia's written. Mm-hmm. In a way that it might make it through some of the firewalls that we all have against, you know, hearing things correctly. I mean, I've done it a million times. I thought you said that, honey.
Yeah, and one of the most enjoyable parts of that way to support us is that she hosts, and Larry, they host a second hour study or like chat, you know, the after party. And it's really fun I listen in sometimes, and it's really fun to listen in because you get all these different interpretations of what I say.
Totally.
And sometimes they're completely opposite of each other. And then the individuals that come in, they discuss it and talk about it. And it's really good to see it evolve. It's quite amazing.
I don't know if you've ever seen Friends.
Yes, the show. I used to love that show when I was a kid.
So it's like that. It's like you show up every week to the same place. We go to the same coffee shop or whatever.
Yes.
And it's a Friday morning at 9. We all meet up. We all have our coffee or whatever Maybe we have oatmeal. Maybe we have toast. Maybe it's dinner
around
time
the
for some
world
of them.
because dinner time or somebody is like 3:00 in the morning. They have to get up really early to participate.
So it's nice to have a familiar group of friends. We talk about similar things with a similar frequency, and the similarities around the entire planet. It's just like all of us, all over the entire planet, are. Well, I'm not going to say exactly the same, but we have similar thoughts.
Yeah.
The similar experiences, similar desires, wishes, and meeting up with our friends every week. It's the highlight of the week, honestly.
So, and is the first and second hour discussed on that meetup, which is nice. Yeah, it's really good.
Now let's get started on the soul and the body topic, because all of us, everyone has found themselves in conflict, and usually it's with a decision, right?
Usually.
Like, should I get this job or take this job, or should I do this thing or that thing? Or
there,
I really want to do this, but I know I ought to do this.
And sometimes it manifests in a way of, I want to do this. And you spend years trying to manifest something, and it doesn't come around. And then you find the body, or it's like in complete conflict, or vice versa.
Vice versa, right? You find your own self.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to read the first bit here of the article, and we're going to have a look at it. On the second hour of Driving to the Race episode See Me, Don't See Me, a really good point was made by one of our panelists, Iliana Rojero. The point was that sometimes we're all set to do something. In her case, it was to do a public talk. And our body starts to fill us with fear. Basically, our body's telling us not to do the thing we planned to do. In these situations, who is right? Do we listen to what we want to do as a soul, or do we listen to our body and stop doing what it doesn't want to do? And sometimes the situation is reversed. Our body wants to do something, and we, as a soul, don't want to do it. It's like, don't do that, don't do that. We should go to the bar, go drinking. No, don't do that, don't do that. Oh yeah, it'll be fine. We'll just have one. I don't think so. Yeah. I'll just have one beer.
Just one.
Fine. Yes.
So when you drink that one beer anyway, you invite in another higher self soul on this side. Have another one. Have another one. That was so good. Yeah. Well, that's a class on possession. So let's keep on, stay on topic.
That's a good point, though, because we do a lot of classes also.
We do classes, yeah.
Okay, so I see.
Here, I'll hold it.
Yeah, thanks.
Because Dora.
I had a cat on my lap.
Okay.
Can't hold it.
There you go.
Thank you, honey.
Let's do it over this way.
Yes.
Okay.
Good job.
There.
We should set up the nice setup that Michela got for us, and then we can,
let's do that.
Read it. Okay, let's see. Where were we?
Sometimes the situation is reversed. Our body wants to do something, and we as a soul don't want to. I've seen in many people that the biggest issues in their lives comes from the conflicting information or desires of body and soul.
Yes. The major areas of interest that I have found that people have are health, wealth, and sex or relationships.
We'll just call it relationship, honey.
Okay.
Rated G, please.
We call it relationships?
Yes.
Not sex.
No.
Why?
It's because my body says one thing and my soul says another.
Yeah. Your body says it's all about the sex. And your soul says, I need connection. I want to understand the frequency, fulfilled with somebody like me, and understand everything, and blah, 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 blah. Yes, indeed.
Sure, that's what it is.
That's a great example, isn't it?
You explore that in great depth and detail in your sex, love and relationships in the new paradigm class. Yeah. That one will blow your mind on relationships. Yeah. Okay.
It's like that. So major issues are around those things. An individual who wants to be rich but is struggling from month to month to pay their bills or buy food could be the wealth one. And so health, a person who lives really well, does right food and exercises and does all the right things and is continuously having health issues.
That's a body and soul one.
Yeah, all of them are body and soul. All of them can be body and soul. So I'm mentioning the major life things and then the type of conflicts that come about in each one. I have seen that a lot. And often a person will come to us and say, well, I want to be healthy, let's say, right? I want to be healthy and strong. And I do all these things and I've done all these modalities. I've gone to all these healers and I've gone to all these doctors and I'm still having these issues. What's going on? And then we can go all the way back to all the choices they've ever made. Yeah. And one of the things that the first thing that I teach about the healing aspects or the healing stories, I say you have to ask yourself, how is this condition serving me or another? Right.
Or basically also, what is this stopping me from doing?
Well, yes.
One of the ways to inquire.
The serve, yeah. Yeah. And then if a person says, it's not serving me, it's not me or another, are you kidding me? Then I go to what Larry said and I say, okay, if that doesn't bring any results, then you ask yourself, what is this stopping me from doing or allowing me to do? Or what is this allowing somebody else to stop doing something or allowing them to do something?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like that story with Dr. Cohen and his AIDS patient. He
got cured.
He got cured by the Dr. Cohen's method of, treated the body as a whole
complete thing. Yeah.
Whole complete thing. And it worked. And he was getting much better in his little marker numbers, whatever they are. They went way down to a healthy state. And then he went on a binge and came back. And he's like, I'm all bad again. So the Dr. Cohen put him back on his regimen, whatever it was. I don't know what it was. Probably
the regimen that allowed him to binge and he wouldn't get sick.
A regimen that healed his body. So
okay.
The second time around, it didn't work. His body wouldn't get healed.
Huh.
He finally gave up and went to the doctor, and the doctor gave him a pill, AZT or something like that, know. And that one made him better, so he could go back and binge. Because Dr. Cohen's one wouldn't let you go back and binge. You're not going to stay healthy if you go do that.
Right.
But the doctor one, that pill, take that pill, you'll be fine. Of course, you'll die, but you'll be able to go party.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's like permissions. That's a body and a soul thing, right? His body didn't come here for healthy and strong and all that. He came here to party with his bros.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Dr. Cohen's recipe didn't include continuing to party with his bros in Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what he came for, though. I mean, you could judge it good or bad, whatever. It's your judging, not him.
That's your judging, yeah.
Everybody comes here for different reasons. His reason was party with his bros. So, hey, that's the way.
That's the way, yeah. And so, that's one example.
Or maybe it was his soul. Which was it?
What, wanted to party?
Yeah, with his bros.
Well, it's impossible for us to know, but if he had asked those questions, then he would have received an answer, right? So you can go, how does it serve me? And if you identify with the soul, right? Or what is it stopping me from doing, or what is it allowing me to do? And you identify with the soul aspect of yourself, it'll give you an answer. And then if you identify with your body aspect of yourself, it'll give you an answer. And then you can even ask, is this the bodies or the souls, right? You can even ask those questions to see what is it doing? Another little test that I do to see where the person is at and where are we talking to the body right now, or are we talking to the soul right now, is I ask them to point at themselves into their eyes and say, what is your finger pointing at? And if they say my eyeballs, then they're identifying with their body. And if they say, oh my gosh, it's
my eternal self,
the infinity, the universe, it's okay, you're identifying with the soul.
That's cool.
It's a really cool, easy one to do. And you'd be surprised how many people do one or the other that you wouldn't expect. It's really fun. And again, there's no right or wrong answers, just to get data, information, to see where you're coming from and what kind of healing stories you can provide for an individual. And you could even say that even wealth, health, and relationships all have healing stories, not just the health one.
Cool.
All right.
Okay, so I've seen in many people that the biggest issues in their lives come from the conflicting information or desires of body and soul.
Yeah.
What I've also seen is that by simply becoming aware that this can happen, the conflict often dissipates. The issue's still there, the body wanting one thing and the soul another, but the battle of who wins goes away.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like, let's read the next bit because that's actually relevant to that one.
In many of my exercises,
you
actually it's yours. I teach, she teaches that we need to scan the body and listen to the body.
Yes.
That our body has a lot of information that we don't have. And this works when we are working at a conscious level and listening and feeling the vibrations our body gives us and shows us using the emotional, energy, and mental bodies.
Yeah. So that can mean as an emotion, it can come in as energy, it can come in as an idea or image in your mind. All this information comes in. And we have to be wary of it also because we have to take into consideration that our bodies might have a different agenda or want different things than we do. And that maybe perhaps that information that's coming in might be altered in some way.
Right. It will be colored by the emotional body sphere, maybe.
For example, or the desires.
Or the desire of the emotional bodies. Like, should I go out with this girl? Yes. She's a girl.
She's a girl.
Or vice, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Should I like this boy? Yeah, he's a boy.
Yeah. So there was an incident I remember in Seville. My sister had a friend. They were very close. And this friend, she met this guy who was pretty obnoxious. And we all felt that he was not a good person.
Right.
Right. And even she knew that he wasn't a good person. But her body...
he might not be good, but he is so good.
She said, I have to avoid this guy because whenever I'm in the same room with him, I feel like I feel sick in my mind. You know, it's like at an energetic level, I feel repulsed. But my body just wants to shag him, right? That's all my body wants. So I need to avoid the situation. And funnily enough, when I scanned them, when I was in this, I became extremely curious. This was a huge curiosity for me. So I scanned them both in the room. And what I saw was that her body and his body had many incarnations together as boyfriend and girlfriend, girlfriend and boyfriend. And they were kept doing that many, many lifetimes. But their souls had been different souls a lot. So they weren't like one of these body-soul connections that they persist through time and space. Like the one soul and the one body incarnate over and over and over again. It was the other situation where the soul just changes bodies all the time and the bodies changes souls all the time. And but
the bodies remember each other.
The bodies were remembering each other and liked each other very much, but their souls were completely different spectrum of frequency. Like
on different trajectories and desires of experience.
Yeah.
One wanted,
the bodies definitely.
One wanted the other thing, but both bodies liked each other.
But even he was very verbal about what a horrible person she was on the inside. Right?
It reminds me of some of the shows we watch.
And he was like,
I hate that guy. I hate that guy. And then they're kissing behind this door.
No, it wasn't like that. It was like literally, he was even made comments such as, when they say that beauty's on the inside? Well, you're the other way around. You're just beautiful on the outside, but inside you're horrible and this and this and that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was really intense. Their souls were not attracted to each other, not one little bit. But their bodies, oh my gosh. So it was quite funny. So to even that extent,
So you can see how the awareness of that would make it easier to function, because it's like,
Yes.
okay, I'm aware it's my body
Yes.
and his body. They like each other.
Yeah.
But, for this incarnation, our soul's desires are not going to match. We could like go ahead and let our bodies do their thing, but it's going to be
Nasty and bad.
nasty and bad and not worth it.
Yeah. And
So
when
we can rationalize even a little, huh?
Yeah, when I explained it to her, because she was the friend, right? Mm-hmm. What I saw, she like bing, 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 but all the lights went on and said, that explains everything.
Sense. That makes perfect sense.
Oh my gosh. And so it's not a good idea for me to even try to like him, really.
I probably shouldn't bring my body to that temptation, right?
Exactly.
Don't take my body to the bar.
Right.
Don't take my body to the casino. Mm-hmm. Don't take my body to his house.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, the obvious question, which we probably should say for the second hour, is, well, who's the boss of the experience?
Yes. That is a very big exploration. Yes. And very interesting, too, from what I perceived and seen in all the people I've met. It's very fascinating.
Okay.
Very. Yeah.
Well, let's just continue with this article. We can ask that question in the second hour.
Yeah, because it's a big question.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah. Okay, so
I think you're going to give us a story. Oh, wait.
Many exercises I teach.
We're not aware that a lot of those emotions, feelings, and vibrations that our bodies are using give us information. What is that doing that?
Because you keep pressing the little thing.
Comes straight from limiting or low frequency programs or influences. So, like when you tap into your body and you get an answer to a question, it might be actually just a low frequency program answering you.
Yes.
So you have to be cognizant and aware of that.
You do need to. The only times that I've seen that you can bypass that is when you do the exercises in the Truthing class. Mm-hmm. I teach the Truthing exercise, which is to train your body for you to read your body in a yes/no situation.
So your body becomes the pendulum.
Yeah. So it's very interesting because I found that when I ask my body a yes/no question, she's not able to answer through programs. Yeah. And that to me is fascinating.
But you are a bit special, honey, so.
But I've taught people with the exercises how to get it to that point.
Okay, well, I'm not saying it's not possible.
The Truthing class will bring you in to that point where you learn from frequency-wise. You learn, even if your body's trying to answer through a program or hide something, you will learn through frequencies how that goes. And then you learn how to read your body on a no-yes situation.
I think I may need to retake that.
I think so. Yes, yeah.
Okay, so tell us a story, honey.
Okay. So, for example, when my youngest son, Brett, was 4 years old, I kept having nightmares where he was drowning. My interpretation of those nightmares was that I needed to take him to swimming lessons. However, when I arrived at the swimming pool, the instructors told me to hand him over and walk away. That no matter how much he screamed, I was not to talk to him, come over to him, or comfort him in any way. This went against everything that is natural to me. It went against everything that's natural to a mother and child. Or father and child, right, too? I walked to the edge of the pool and handed him to the instructor in the water. Brett saw me step away from the edge and started screaming so loud it silenced all the other noises in the large pool. So that's all I could hear, right? The main instructor took me by the arm and said, "Mom, you need to step away. You can go inside the clubhouse or sit at the other end of the pool where he cannot see you, but you cannot stay here or take him out of the pool. This skill might save his life one day, and he needs it." So that's how he got me to do it, right? So him not drowning is more important than him screaming that very moment, so that my body could understand. Against all of my body's messages, which was to grab my little boy and run out of there, I walked away. One of the assistant instructors walked me to the clubhouse, sat me down, and handed me a glass of water. "Come out in 15 minutes and watch from a distance. Do not let him see you," she said. I nodded and swallowed my cries, trying to drink some water. After 15 minutes, I stepped out and looked over at the pool. Brett was laughing and playing with the instructor in the water, other little boys and girls doing the same with the instructors. He was then told to hold on to the edge of the pool and kick his feet, which he did. I took a deep breath walked to the other side of the pool, taking the tree-lined path so that he wouldn't see me, and watched him until the lesson was over. 2 months later, I proudly held him as he received his first grade in swimming skills.
What is his first grade, though? A?
What?
He got
First
his first
grade?
Was
No,
it
no,
an A?
like you get a little certificate, grade 1. You pass the kicking
So
in the
it's
water.
pass-fail grade? It's not like an A or B or a
Yes,
C?
it's a
Okay.
pass-fail.
I guess you only get it if you pass.
You only get it if you pass.
Okay.
Yeah, because they won't. I mean, there was a couple of grades he didn't pass and he had to redo it. But that one, I think, was actually holding on to the edge while kicking your feet and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
Not screaming.
Not screaming when your mom leaves.
So that was the first grade certificate. Yeah, pass.
Okay.
And there was a couple, it's like, I think when he had to swim from one end of the pool to the other without stopping. I think that he had to do a couple of times before he passed that one. So it wasn't one of those situations where everybody gets a certificate at the end of the week. He had to actually get the skills in. No, those instructors at that school of swimming that used to come to the clubhouse, they were really good. They were dedicated and made sure the kid learned he could swim by the time they finished,
Mm-hmm.
They did.
That's good. I mean, their way worked. Doesn't mean there's not other ways. Doesn't mean there are other ways.
Oh,
It
I'm
means
sure
in the
there's lots
orchestration,
of, yeah.
in the orchestration that was available, that was the way available to you most readily and likely to happen. I mean, it's not like you're going to fly to another town and get it done or try and find a different pool. You had a pool right there.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
There's
And
lots of ways to teach
right.
kids to swim.
Your message,
Lots of ways.
Your message had some validity, but in the situation, it was unnecessary, right? Mm-hmm. He's all right, and he knows how to swim.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And how long did that screaming last? Right? Probably like 2 minutes.
Maybe. I think I've heard of that screaming when you get on the Head Start bus or the school bus or
Yeah.
the babysitters or all of the things. Right?
Yeah.
That's just separation from mom.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And we could go back and say, yeah, that's unnatural and blah, blah, blah.
You should have got in the pool
I
with
could
him,
have-
hold his hand. And all
Yeah,
that.
I could have
It's
gone in the
seven
pool.
different ways you can do that. It's like, maybe yes,
Maybe
but that's
not.
not the one we did.
Right.
And in that,
I did actually try, but whenever I got in the pool, he would latch onto me like a little
Like a
koala.
monkey.
Yeah, like a little monkey, and I couldn't separate him to get him to kick in the water or float or nothing, So I had tried.
You're not
I had tried
emotionally
other
prepared
things.
to,
I wasn't physically able
or
to.
physically either. So
Yes, I wasn't physically able to and stick him on my body so he could float in the water. So that's why I went for help, right? I went to the
right.
class, but yeah, because with my other babies, I taught them how to swim, but it was different. Eventually, I took them all to swimming lessons, but it wasn't in that situation. They were already able to kick and, float in the water with their little floaters, and they weren't like him who would just grab on like a little monkey and not be able. I couldn't pull him apart, So, yeah, it was interesting.
I remember
But-
my first swimming lessons.
Uh-huh.
They were drowning.
Oh no!
We were swimming on
no.
giant inner tubes in the fish hatchery.
Oh my
Giant
gosh!
in the fish hatchery on the river we lived on. Sometimes they would empty the pond of fish, and then it would just be water, like a swimming pool. And then the guys
Like
that
the
worked
kids.
there would put these giant inner tubes from truck tires, in there. And then they rock back and forth on the inner tubes, make giant waves, and the waves would hit the edge of the thing and then come back, and they'd be like,
Oh my gosh!
it was wild in there. But turns out wet inner tubes are a little bit slippery when you're barely big enough to
Oh, stay in there, yeah.
So I just fell off and went right to the bottom.
Oh my
And
gosh!
I remember looking at the bottom, looking up at all the water way up there, going, now how the hell am I going to get up there?
Oh no! And you figured it out, obviously.
No, I figured it out by having somebody come get me.
Oh, okay, that worked.
Yeah. And then
Wow.
the next time I was in the similar situation, riding my bike around all these ponds, it's kind of amazing the things that you could get away with not that many years ago. There's a giant fish hatchery with, 50 ponds. And just imagine
A little kid.
they're 20 or 30 feet deep cement walled ponds with fish sometimes in it halfway up.
Wow.
So it was like 10 feet up to the edge. And the edge that goes to the ground, at the ground level, it only goes up about a foot.
Wow.
And there's no fences, no nets, no nothing. You just ride your bike around all of them. And I cut the corner and I, fell onto the edge. And so my bike's there and I'm falling into the pool and somehow I grabbed the edge so I didn't actually fall in. Because if I fell in, there's nobody watching.
It's over.
And I can't climb up the side. Plus I couldn't swim.
Right.
So, that was a bit startling.
Yeah, the type of things we used to do as kids, and it's like insane. How would we have a generation?
I don't know how we did it.
Kids survived it. Yeah. And it goes back into our agreements and all that type of stuff,
Totally.
Yeah.
I remember after my mom got divorced, she got a new boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And it's similar with these agreements things. And this is slightly off topic, but it's not also. It's like he was something of an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. But he didn't like to drunk drive because he got in trouble too many times. Mm-hmm. So he'd just get drunk and be driven. Uh-huh. But he was the worst kind because he'd reach over and grab the steering wheel and push it into the car that's coming on.
Oh my gosh.
To try and make my mom wreck while we're driving.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. No, that's not good. Yeah. So you had a few close calls, huh?
Well, yeah, the demons chasing my butt.
Yes.
But there's the body and the soul. The body was along for the ride, and the soul had a better idea what we're going to do.
Exactly.
And so, I think we can explore more about the soul's why I'm here and the body's experiences. How sometimes they seem like, why would my soul put me in those positions, right?
Yes.
But that your body's the victim of the soul.
Right.
Or why would my body get into those positions? Well, that's the nature of our reality agreements. And, there's a lot to explore there, right?
There is a lot to explore. Absolutely. Yeah. And we're going to continue exploring this on our second hour with our panelists. Okay. And if you want to support us and get a chance to listen to the second hour, I think it's only like $8 a month or something.
Yep, $8 a month.
You get 4 episodes and other little goodies. So, yeah.
Okay.
So let's see you in the second hour.
See you in the second hour. And if not, hey, we'll see you next week.
Indeed. We will.
Either way, we're glad you're listening.
Yes. Oh, and share this podcast with everybody. Share it. Yeah. Bye, darling.
Bye. Love you, honey.
Even
maybe there could be an advertisement around that. If it just doesn't have to be about things that are bad in your life, you could get a past life regression to find out, how cool you are.
You could say instead of a healing list, you could say bring a list of all the amazing things that you excel at.
You want to know where your skills come from, or your affinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So an affinity reading.
An affinity reading.